Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to Third Wave Trades. It's been a while, guys. I was unable to make videos last week. I was extremely busy, but I am going to do an update on all the stocks that we have been looking at. The last one I did was on Tesla. I'm going to do an update on that because that's basically playing out exactly how we thought it would. It's looking extremely bullish right now. Um, and then Palantir was another one that we looked at. We had a price target of $14 on a conservative approach, and with a potential for it to go a lot higher to roughly $18 to $20. So we'll look at that, see if there's any changes over there, if it's actually more bullish, which I do believe that it is now that we hit the $14. I will do a update on the Bitcoin mining stocks. Those look like they are finishing their corrections and should be rallying higher soon along with Bitcoin. But for this video, we are going to look at Nvida. Nvidia, guys, has been extremely bullish, and if you guys recall from the last video that I posted on it, we had the potential of hitting $350 a lot sooner than expected, and that is exactly what happened. As you guys can see right now, from Friday's close, we closed at $389, right? We had an extremely bullish move after their earnings, and all of that was basically forecasted within the Elliot Wave Count, right? So we'll go over our two scenarios that we were looking at in the last video. Just do a quick review on those, and then I kind of want to get into potential targets of the third wave, because I do believe we are still in a third wave move, and we will try to break down the third wave into its subwave count, which has been really tricky so far, guys. But we'll see what we can do, and then we're going to take a look at some possible scenarios. Where are we going from here? Where is this third wave going to top out at before we get a little bit of retracement and then ultimately move higher? All right, so that's what we're looking to do. Before we do, guys, quick disclaimer: I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research, or consult with a financial advisor before making any trading or investment decisions. Secondly, if you guys could, please hit the like button down below if you guys find the content useful, and please subscribe to the channel if you guys want more Elliot Wave breakdowns on your favorite stocks, cryptos, and commodities. All right, guys, this video might be a little bit long, so check in the description box for different chapters. This way you guys can forward and stuff if you guys already kind of know like where I'm going at, if you guys want to skip the recap and all that. All right, but so just touching on the recap to start with. All right, not going into the macro count, just looking at our current scenario, and basically it all hovered around the $300 level. All right, so scenario A was basically that we were going to get rejected at 300, and then our fourth wave correction of the larger degree would play out before we would rally higher to levels of 350 and beyond. All right, and that's kind of what I was favoring, because like I said, guys, I prefer a more conservative outlook whenever giving my price projections, right? Instead of being like ultra bullish, I like to err on the side of caution. So that's what I was favoring, and for a couple of reasons, which I'm going to show you guys as well. And then scenario B was that a break above the $300 level would basically mean that our third wave is a lot more bullish, a lot more impulsive than we originally thought, and then we're going a lot higher, and I gave you guys a target of $350. All right, so clearly this is the one that played out, but let's take a look at exactly what we were looking at when we were making those two scenarios. All right, so this was obviously our first wave that we had, right? Then we had our second wave, and then we had our third wave playing out. I was counting this third wave as a 5-wave move, and scenario A was that we would get rejected at 300, get a fourth wave pullback here, and then we would rally higher for a fifth wave move. All right, and one of the reasons why that was my preferred scenario because as you guys can see on the RSI, we had at the time, this blue arrow, by the way, guys, is where I last posted my update on Nvidia, right? So this candle right here, as you guys can see, we were basically around $297, $298, getting closer and closer to that $300 level. So at the time, you guys can see basically we had this bearish divergence playing out on the RSI. We were making lower highs as price action was making higher highs, right? So with that being said, we had bearish divergence. So basically I said in order for us to be more bullish, what we need to see is a break above the $300 level, right? So strong price action, break above the $300 level with strong volume, and we need to eliminate this bearish divergence on the RSI, and that's exactly what we got, right?
So now let's say that that's not the case. Let's say we actually break 300 and this thing keeps running. In that case, then, you know, a strong break above 300, right, with volume, if volume comes, then I would have to change my account, and I would have to say that basically this is a lot more bullish than we anticipated at first. And what would my account be then? Well, I would still keep this obviously as the first wave down here, right? And then this is our second wave, and then this third wave is just probably far more extended, right, than we thought. In which case, how high can it go before we pull back? Well, one thing that I would be looking at then would be using the extension tool, right? Usually we expect a 161.8% extension for a third wave. Now you guys can see we're above that. So if we break above $300, like I said, with volume, then what the possibility is that, I mean, the next target that I would be looking at is the 261.8%. And it's very possible, guys, that this third wave in and of itself will reach $350. But if we break above $300 and we start to see more volume coming in, that divergence basically gets eliminated that we're looking at on the RSI over here, right? Like, so if, in other words, if the RSI ends up going higher, right, as price action is going higher above 300, and we no longer have this divergence playing out anymore, then like I said, then we will change our count and basically anticipate a much larger third wave target before we get that fourth wave pullback.
So had we been playing here and we got rejected over here, then scenario A would have played out, but it didn't, right? We broke through 300. We actually rallied to about $320. You guys can see that we did so with volume, right? So look how strong this volume is right here, right? It's a clear break, clear bullish move, and the RSI, as you guys can see, eliminated this bearish divergence that we had. So that right there should have been you guys' indication that we are going higher, and that's exactly what played out. So from here we broke 300, moved higher, and then we had a couple of days of correcting until we came to the day of the earnings, and that's exactly the catalyst that we needed to get that push to 350 and beyond, right? So you guys can see this right here, this blue box is just basically the gap that we left from the day of the earnings when we ran after hours all the way up to around $385. The next day we opened, as you guys can see, with really strong volume, and you know, we pushed to 395, almost $400 before we came back a little bit. All right, so obviously scenario B is what we're looking at now. That's basically that our third wave is going a lot higher. Now the question is the third wave done, and are we starting to get our fourth wave pullback, or does the third wave still have room to run? Right, because ultimately, guys, if this is still just the third wave playing out, we're still going higher. The only thing that we need to be worried about is just some like sideways correction for a fourth wave before we move even higher, right? Like this thing could potentially go up to $500 at this point. It would not be far-fetched at all. We've already broken all-time highs, right? This was our all-time high over here at $346, which was the top of our third wave in the larger macro count. Um, and we've already broken that. So now we're just looking to go higher, and the question is just how high can we go, and how soon will we get there? All right. So with all that being said, guys, there's a couple things that we can do to try to figure out how this is all going to play out. So the first thing that I want to go off of is the fib extension tool. Now, how did I come up with the $350 target? That was clear. That was basically just using the fib extension tool, right? So we were looking for a target, and as you guys know, the most common scenario is for a third wave to be 161.8%. We were already way past that. So the next target that we were going to look at was the 261.8%, which would have been $348, rounded roughly to 350, which is how I came up with that target for you guys. Now, we broke past that and we went a lot higher. And I want you guys to see this, right? This website is from Elliot Wave Forecast. They're a great website for you guys to get all your rules, guidelines, and structures of Elliot Wave theory. They even have their own YouTube channel, and occasionally they do Elliot Wave breakdowns on different stocks and stuff. So be sure to check them out because I've learned a lot from these guys. And this is just a great great like summary sheet for you guys on everything that you need to know about Elliot Wave theory. All right. So what I want to show you guys is basically the Fibonacci retracement and extension. All right, so these are your common Fibonacci retracement levels, right? And these are your common Fibonacci extension levels. So you guys can see 61.8%, 100%, 123%, 161.8%, which is most common for a third wave, and 200, 261, 323, and 423, right? You guys can see over here, wave 3 is typically 161.8% of wave 1. Okay, but now this is another, these are the most common levels for wave 3, right? So the first is 161.8. If we break past that, the next is 200. If we break past that, the next is 261.8, which is where I gave you guys the target of 350. And if we break past that, it's 323.6. I'm going to leave a link for this website for you guys to check out, by the way, in the description box. But like I said, 323.6% would be the next target, right? And now I want you guys to see where we are is exactly, at that 323.6%, which is roughly $397. And look where we got to, guys. We really got to $394. It's scary just how accurate Fibonacci and Elliot Wave really is at times, right? So you guys can see basically over here 161.8, check, right? 261.8%, check. 323.6%, check. So what are our next targets if we are going higher? The next target, if we break past this 397, we could round it up to $400 at this point, guys. The next target would be $430, the 3.618%. And if we break past that, then the next target would be roughly $475, the 4.236%. So yeah, guys, like that's basically what I'm looking at in terms of my targets, right? So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to monitor this, and we are going to see how the price action is playing out, how it's getting to these levels. Is it getting there the same way we were looking at the $300 level? We're looking at these levels now, right? So 400, 430, 475. How is the price action getting there? Is it getting there with strong price action, strong volume? or is it getting there with weak volume? Are we starting to see divergences in the RSI, right? And if we take a look at this, I'm going to zoom out to a weekly, and you guys can see like the volume is super strong, right? And look at this price action. This week was the strongest price action with the strongest volume that we've gotten in a long time. To me, that tells me that this thing is moving a lot higher, right? Um, there's no signs of a pullback. If we look at the RSI, that's probably the only bearish thing, is that we are really overbought at this point, right? We're really high, we're overbought, but this thing can correct for a fourth wave move, and from there we would just ultimately end up rallying higher for the fifth wave, right? So there's a lot of price action. There's a lot of like upside left for Nvidia. The question is it just going to happen now in this third wave move, or will we get that fourth wave correction before we rally higher? But ultimately, that rally higher is coming. Just based off of the RSI alone, I would say that we need to come down and correct. So, and the fact that we hit this 323.6% extension level tells me that this could be a good level. But again, if we break above 400 now, the same way I said about the 300, with strong and the volume continues stronger, look for those next targets, 430 and then 475. All right, so those are the targets that I'm looking at, and the next thing that we can do, guys, is basically take a look at the intra-wave count, or the subwave count, and that has been kind of tricky, right? So you guys know from my last video that I basically had this more so as a 1-2. Here, let me draw it out like this, sort of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an extended fifth, right? Clearly, that was not the proper count, because we've gone so much higher, unless we were to take this over here as the third wave, and this as a fourth wave, somewhere like this, and this sideways action was our fourth wave of the larger degree, and then this move up so far has been our fifth wave. That's possible as well. So either this scenario is playing out, where this was our third wave, this sideways action was our fourth wave, and this jump up with earnings was our fifth wave, right, of the larger degree, and then we're topping out. Or the more bullish scenario, this whole thing is still our third wave. We're going to get a fourth wave pullback somewhere in here, which would probably just fill this gap that we left from earnings, and then from there we will rally higher to potentially even $500. So that's all stuff that we got to look at. But now, in terms of this intra-wave count, I think the way that I see it right now, going with this more bullish scenario that this is our third wave playing out, you could go 1, 2 over here, possibly 2, 3, 4, like a third wave over here, a fourth wave over here, and this move that's playing out is our fifth wave, and it's possibly a 1, 2, 3, maybe get some four-way sideways move here, and then we rally higher for a fifth wave of our third, and then maybe from there we start the pullback into this gap area for our larger degree fourth wave before we rally higher for a fifth. All right. I'm leaning towards us kind of topping out soon in this third wave move because we are so high on the RSI, on the daily, on the weekly. Um, you know, it's gonna come back at some point and just reset before we move higher. So that's why I do think that a fourth wave is coming. Um, but yeah, that's just another thing. Kind of like I said in the last video, we just have to see which scenario plays out. We keep both options open, and we only execute once we see a clear signal for one of the scenarios to play out, right? So a break above 400 with strong volume still pushing, um, you know, and then I would just be long. I would play for the next target, next key level. And the next key levels, guys, because we are in unprecedented territory, we are at all-time highs right now. There are no key levels to look at from previous price action. So you have to use Fibonacci extension uh, um, price targets, right? So the next one, like I told you guys, is going to be $430 after 400. And these are rough estimates, guys. It could be 425, it could be 430. I'm giving you guys like a range between a give or take like $5. So 430, and then the next target after that would be $475. All right, guys. I think that about really covers it. I kind of just want to give you guys a bigger picture of what's playing out. So either the bullish scenario is this is still the third wave playing out, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth of the third wave playing out before we get this large degree fourth wave correction in this gap fill, and then we rally higher for that last fifth wave push towards like 500. Or the less bullish scenario is that this was our third wave move over here, and we had a kind of like sideways fourth wave move, and then this rally from earnings was our fifth wave move, and then we would just pull back from over here. All right, so that's Nvidia right now, guys. That's what I'm looking at. Those are the possible price targets, and that's where I think that the stock is headed. So keep an eye out for those key levels and this different scenarios that play out from there. All right, guys, I'm gonna post another video on Tesla and Palantir next. I'll take a look at the Bitcoin mining stocks, so be sure to tune in for those. And yeah, I think that's it for now. Please like the video if you guys found the content helpful, and please subscribe to the channel if you guys want more Elliot Wave breakdowns on your favorite stocks, cryptos, and commodities. I will be back with more. Peace.